telling the
time. Time waits for no man.
So let's understand the time. Let's begin.
Yay! How many hours are in a day? What's the daytime?
Yochanan 11 verse 9 says, Yahushua answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world.
The working day was from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Daddy, what time was the Messiah crucified? What? He was crucified? Huh?
Mark 15 verse 25 says, And it was the 3rd hour, and they crucified him. The 3rd hour of the day, daytime, means that the crucifixion started at 9 a.m.
Thanks, Dad. Mom, what happened from the 6th to 9th hour? Wait a minute. What's the 6th to 9th hour?
Well, if the 3rd hour was 9 a.m., the 6th hour was therefore 12 noon, and the 9th hour was 3 p.m. Now from the 6th hour, there was darkness all over the land until the 9th hour, according to Matthew 27 verse 45. We consider between the 6th and 9th hour, the sun was at its zenith. And therefore, darkness was caused by an eclipse. Shortly after these events, there was an earthquake. We learn this from Matthew 27 verse 54.
Interesting. What time did the Messiah die? I don't know. Do you?
And about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Matthew 27:46.
The hour of prayer, the 9th hour, 3 p.m., otherwise known as the hour of prayer, according to Acts 3 verse 1. Witches reportedly observed 3 a.m., the reverse, in mockery. When Premier League football returned to action in June 2020, post-lockdown to finish the 2019-20 season, there was a strange sight for football fans. Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoffs being televised. It was a breakaway from the 3 p.m. blackout rule, which originated in the 1960s. The blackout rule was in place to safeguard fans, giving them a window of time to get home before the match was televised.
Did Kepha deny the Messiah in one day or two? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Do you know?
Yahushua said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Matthew 26:34. And he said, I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before that thou shalt thrice deny that thou knowest me. Luke 22:34.
Wow. So Peter denied the Messiah the same day before the new day had arrived. Interesting.
Most rooster owners expect their roosters to begin crowing as dawn approaches. The sky will begin to lighten long before the sun actually rises. It's normal for your rooster to start crowing as early as 2 hours before the sun comes up, roughly around 4 a.m.
That's interesting. That means that roosters were used as a natural alarm clock to prepare people for the start of the working day at 6 a.m. if they generally started crowing 2 hours before the sun came up.
What time were some accused of being drunk? Acts 2 verse 15 says, For these are not drunken as ye suppose, seeing it is but the 3rd hour of the day. Question time. Children, and you at home, what was the 3rd hour of the day?
Is it A or is B? I don't know. Is it A? Is it B? I don't know. Bye.
Now we know the times. Let's look at what the Messiah taught regarding a working day. Matthew 20 verse 1 says, For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire labourers into his vineyard.
We now know the working day started at 6, so early in the morning would mean one would prepare before 6 to start the new working day at 6. Because getting ready dead on 6 would make one late for work.
It was customary to rise earlier than 6 a.m. while dark to prepare and be early for the new working day. Yachanan 20 verse 1. The first day of the week cometh, Mary Magdalene, early, when it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. This means Mary rose early in the morning before the start of the new day. Yachanan 20 verse 19. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Yehudim, came Yahushua and stood in the midst, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. This means when the first day arrived, evening of that same day was still considered the same day, as only 12 hours had passed.
Using a modern example, someone who works 9 to 5 wakes up earlier than 9 a.m. to wash, eat, prepare, or travel to start work at 9 a.m.
Now back to Messiah's lesson regarding the working day. So what happened at the third hour? And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. Matthew 20 verse 3. What happened at the 6th and the 9th hour? Again, he went out and about the 6th and 9th hour, and did likewise.
Where have we seen this coupling of the 6th and 9th hour before? Remember the crucifixion eclipse between the 6th and the 9th hour?
Now from the 6th hour there was darkness all over the land unto the 9th hour. Matthew 27 verse 45.
Well, Yahushua linked the same time when he was speaking about the working day.
What happened at the 11th hour? Matthew 20 verse 6. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and said unto them, Why stand ye here all day, idle? The 11th hour, 5 p.m, ironically today, is known as rush hour and even prime time.
What happened on the same day at 6 p.m? So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, Call the labourers, and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. Matthew 20 verse 8. At even 6 p.m. the same day, the workers were given wages to end their working day.
We see this principle clearly indicated throughout Scripture. Leviticus 19:13 says, "Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Ye shall not oppress or exploit your neighbor, nor rob him. You shall not withhold the wages of a hired man overnight until the morning." Seems to suggest that you wasn't supposed to keep somebody's wages until the following day.
So let's recap 24 hours. Daytime hours, 12 hours between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Nighttime hours, 12 hours between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Sunrise, 6 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. is 12 hours day time. Evening 6 p.m. to sunrise 6 a.m. is 12 hours night time. This cycle completes the 24-hour day.
Here are a few examples of evening not ending the full 24 hours a day. "And he began again to teach by the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship, and sat in the sea, and the whole multitude was by the sea on the land. And the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass unto the other side." He started at the same day unto the evening, but this didn't turn into a new day, but a continuation of the same day. Romans 13:12. "The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light." The night far spent would indicate late in the night, and the day coming would indicate the new day. Exodus 29:38. "Now this is that which thou shalt offer upon the altar, 2 lambs of the first year, day by day, continually." Exodus 29:39. "The one lamb thou shalt offer in the morning, and the other lamb thou shalt offer at the even." This means again to be able to offer the lambs daily, one in the morning, one in the evening. Morning and evening were considered a part of the same day, i.e. 12 hours. Now let's explore a little bit further. What does "you're unclean to the even" mean?
Leviticus 11:24. "And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until the even."
Leviticus 15:16. "And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the even." Notice the prohibition of marital privileges on feast days and the Sabbath, which complements the book of Jubilees that talks about not copulating on the Sabbath. Now we see why. Because one will be defiled among the brethren. In the Gospel of Thomas, a devil takes railing accusation and kills somebody who started to fornicate on the Shabbat. Not just because he was fornicating, but he says explicitly, because he did this on the Shabbat. Interesting. Leviticus 23 verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even you shall celebrate your Sabbath, which was talking about the Day of Atonement Sabbath. This day was to be observed in the evening, 24 hours, as a solemn day of fasting and repenting. Exodus 20 verse 10. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. The 7th day Sabbath, unlike the Atonement Sabbath, was a day of resting from work. No fasting, as in the Day of Atonement Sabbath, was allowed when we see Jubilees 50 verse 12. Exodus 16, 24-25. And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein. And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto Yahuwah. Today you shall not find it in the field. Some have even suggested, because the Sabbath commandment is an end of working, i.e. an end of working on the working day, which is 12 hours, that the Sabbath observance is a 12-hour abstinence rather than 24. Because naturally, at the 12th hour in our culture, we would have rested in the nighttime. But only on the Sabbath would we have abstained from working in the day. Whatever side of the fence you're on at this particular point, go as you are convicted. Starting a working day between the hours of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 12 hours is called unsociable hours and is also called graveyard hours. Working during these hours usually comes with a wage incentive, i.e., night rates. But is increased money worth more to you than a healthy body? Only you, and I guess you. Can tell.
To summarize, a working day started at 6 a.m. People prepared early for the working day. 6 a.m. was the start of the working day, and 6 p.m. ended the working day. All of this according to Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 to 16. Evening time started at 6 p.m. The daytime hours were 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 12 hours. Nighttime was from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 12 hours. These two phases of 12 hours made 24 hours in a whole day. Morning by morning, new mercy I see.
Yes, the classic, Great is Thy Faithfulness. This song reinforces a 24 period. Morning by morning, new mercies I see.
Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden so play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning again being linked to a new day. And every day when we go to bed at night, we do a fast. And in the morning we break it for breakfast. Rise and shine and give Yah the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give Yah the glory, glory.
Rise and shine and give Yah the glory. It's important to give thanks as we rise and start our new day.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yah and to sing praises to the name Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, upon the psaltery, upon the harp, with a solemn sound, for thou Yahweh.
The Psalm Sabbath, Psalms 92, verse 2 to 3, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon psaltery, upon the harp, with a solemn sound.
Whisper a prayer in the morning, whisper a prayer at noon, whisper a prayer in the evening to keep your heart in tune.
Whisper a prayer in the morning, whisper a prayer at noon, whisper a prayer in the evening to keep your heart in tune. Interesting. The days were recorded generally in threes, which is also known as 90 degrees. So when you look at a clock, 3, 6, 9 and 12, we measured in 90 degrees generally. And did you know that right is the name commonly given to an angle of 90 degrees? Interesting. Second Kings 20 verse 10. And Hezekiah answered, It's a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but let the shadow return backward 10 degrees. And Yashayahu, the prophet, cried unto Yahuwah, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down in the dial of Ahaz. A song of degrees. We ourselves were influenced at certain times of the day, or sang music at certain times of the day, depending on the degree. Now I know that degrees has been hijacked and misrepresented by Freemasonry, and those who attain a certain level of miseducation obtain degrees, the more enlightened one becomes. But our ancestors would sing certain songs at certain times of the day, or were influenced at certain times of the day and made songs of worship and praise. Here are the daytime hours. 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. was known as the first hour. 8 a.m. was known as the second hour. 9 a.m. was known as the third hour. 10 a.m. was known as the fourth hour. 11 a.m. was known as the fifth hour. And 12 noon was known as the sixth hour. 1 p.m. was known as the seventh hour. 2 p.m. was known as the eighth hour. 3 p.m. was known as the ninth hour. 4 p.m. was known as the 10th hour. 5 p.m. was known as the 11th hour. And 6 p.m. was known as the 12th hour.
Here is a breakdown of the nighttime hours. 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. was the first hour. 8 p.m. was the second hour. 9 p.m. was the third hour. 10 p.m. was the fourth hour. 11 p.m. was the fifth hour. 12 midnight was the sixth hour. 1 a.m. was the seventh hour. 2 a.m. was the eighth hour. 3 a.m. was the ninth hour. 4 p.m. was the 10th hour. 5 p.m. was the 11th hour. 6 a.m. was the 12th hour.
Now, I hear somebody say, what about Genesis, evening and morning? Well, in light of all of this, let's allow the scriptures to explain. Interestingly, we see the concept of evening to morning, evening to morning, evening to morning, evening to morning, to end the day. Now, evening to morning ended a day, i.e. 24 hours. But it did not start the day. The day started at 0600 to 1800. The working hours, the time in which the Most High created on each day. By the evening time, the close of work, and the dawning of the morning was a new day, i.e. 24 hours. This is why the scripture says evening to morning when referring to ending a day. Ironically, the sun and the moon were not made until the fourth day, but they both were given for a sign for times and seasons, governed by the 24 hours of a full day, one to rule in the daytime and the other one to rule in the nighttime. A natural clock given to us by our Creator to remind us, and so that we can always stay on top of time.
Now let's take a closing test. The Most High starts a day at 0 hours or 600 hours. The answer is 600 hours. The world starts a day at 0 hours or 600 hours. The answer is 0 hours. What does this show? This world is upside down.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good, and acceptable, and perfect will of the Most High Yah. Hallelujah. And as always, we were called for set apart living.